I would like to thanks for this opportunity for me to be here to presenting my research. Beforehand, I would like to introduce myself. I am Khadija Ismail, but you can call me Khadija. My working daily in the socio-economic department of fisheries as a lecturer in Raja Ali Haji Maritime University, where in Tanjung Pinang City in Indonesia. My scientific field focus on the study of coastal community development. Outside from the university, I also active in organization engaged in education sector, where we call it in here as a Badan Akreditasi Nasional. In English, maybe National Accreditation Board of School and Madrasah. I interested in joining this TERA to strengthen community network of educational observer and researcher in sharing information and research result. Through by this research, I want to contribute to the tool of finding solution to problems in learning process during this COVID-19 pandemic, especially for fishing communities living in coastal village in Riau Islands, so that the fishermen's children can still go to school and learn by themselves with uh, high enthusiasm. Without further ado, I would like to presenting my research here. The title I made in here: utilization of marine resource as a media of communications and learning source in pandemic COVID-19. This is a case study in coastal school in Riau Islands. As an introduction for my research here, as we know that since COVID-19 come as pandemic has big impact on various aspects of life in various countries today, specifically on in education aspect. Uh, why I choose this stem? Because where first is we are located in Riau Islands with the characteristic of consisting a thousand of small island, and we have more than 80% of villages are located in coast area. Explained that the pandemic caused many new problems in various aspects for people's life, especially in education learning, for teacher or even for student. They must comply with a health protocol established by the governments. The government told that we should have conducting online home learning. However, such learning doesn't take place effectively, especially for school located in coastal village. Uh, Mostly coastal village in this coastal area, they become a green zone. Green zone, so they still don't have a case about COVID-19. This is also not support the readiness of government to provide facilities and infrastructure to support online learning. Why? Because some of area in Indonesia, for example, uh, the teacher or even the student, they cannot get the signal, data signal, internet signal, to help them to conducting online learnings. It's just a simple uh, example of the facility and infrastructure from governments. However, the government still carries out the school accreditation process in this midst of pandemic. just to meet national education standard. So this research, I want to know how the learning process take place and how learning communication can run effectively. So therefore, and also how to learning process can continue effectively in this during this COVID-19 pandemic. So as you know that in Indonesia, day by day the COVID-19 case keep increasing. So I would like to know how this learning process is it effectively or not during this pandemic. So research purpose is to identify the learning communication source and media used by the teacher outside from the school. So it can motivate fishermen to children to continue study and go to school during this pandemic. Some of school in here, uh, they some student they able to go to school already, and then uh, the second purpose is get and meet the quality standard of school education in coastal area and in Riau Islands. Talking about this research, we use exploratory case study with a qualitative descriptive approach. So how the data collection use observation method are used to sample school either in different place. First one is min one school. We call it in here Madrasah Ibtidaiyah Negeri. It's like just like elementary school for uh, uh, Islamic school in Indonesia. The place in Berakit village in Bintan Regency. Meanwhile, the other school is elementary school number 11 in Kampung Baru, where this is in a city, the center of city. So both of the school become as a sample of comparison school, which were determined purposefully. Apart from this, semi-structured interview were conducted with a respondent. So the respondent itself consisting of teacher, parents of students, and also the student itself as the respondents. So how this research process? First, as a qualitative descriptive approach, we make data collections. We develop interview instrument and others. And then from this, we go to the second step, data reduction. We make classifying the result of the interview. We processing the interview and others. After that, we make a presentation of data. We combine the result of grouping interview with a several source of narrative. And then the last one is conclusion withdrawal. So in here we draw the conclusion about respondent perceptions, about learning communication source and media. Uh, just like I said before, we have some respondent like teacher, parents, and student itself. We can see their perspective over this issue. In here, this is the where bracket uh, took place for Madrasah Ibtidaiyah Negeri, Min 1 school. And then this is where elementary school number 11 here. So it's quite far both of school. So we can see the difference result. Talking about this pandemic era, before this is pandemic happening and in several country, most of country, school were so active, just like in normal days. Teacher and student gatherings, doing the school activities, learning activities in school. Parents also uh, come along with their children, take them to school, just like a normal days. But if you see to the right one here, we can see that the school is empty. Nobody inside in here. And then the below one, we can see the learning process still happen, still ongoing, but it took different place, different kind of process. Students stay at home, doing learning by phone or some with laptops, PC. So in here, I get some data about achievement of national standard of school education. The data in here from year 2016 until 2018. This is a category of standard school education in Indonesia. From some standard, we can see educational facilities and infrastructure standard, also educator and education personal standard is the lowest one from other category. This one is the lowest from the other. So this is data in Bintan Regency, from far from the capital city in Riau Islands. As you can see here, achievement same category also, but the data took place in Tanjung Pinang city. Still, this category, educational facilities, even education personal standard, still become the lowest one. If we compare with other category. So, finding the learning process during this pandemic in coastal village, I met into four category. We talk about IT skill of teacher, education staff, student, and parents. We cannot apart them from this category. We can see here most of teacher, they have over 10 years experience, but they have this experience for conventional learning system. As a teacher, the learning system is still conventional. They don't have a skill in IT. Second is parent of student. Some of them, but mostly in coastal village, they don't have adequate education. They don't have knowledge and skill, and some of them even never attending school. This has become one of the problem. The third one is students do not receive effective assistance when studying at home. Why? Because their parents, they don't have educated educations. They don't have skill. They don't have knowledge. They don't have teacher to accompany them while studying. So they study by themselves at home. So they don't have effective assistance. If we talk about limitation of online learning support facility and infrastructure, schools do not yet have good complete infrastructure. As I mentioned before, in here, facilities and infrastructure standard is the lowest one. We can see here, schools do not yet have good complete infrastructure. to support learning process, especially especially for example laboratory or even online learning facility. Most teachers do not have a laptop. This is just a problem for teacher who lives in coastal village. 96% of students also do not have laptops. I mean PC. And not all parents have Android phone. They just use a general phone, just like for example, short SMS and calling. This has become the big problem to support online learning. We can see here the difficulty in accessing internet network in coastal village area. As we know, coastal village areas, not every place are covered with a good signal, internet signal. The coastal village is also a fishing village close to the beach and sea. The coastal village far from a city, so, also difficult to access internet signal in rural area. This has become the second problem. The second problem, how to do online learning. How about the socio-economic and economic limitation of the parents who lives in rural area? From the data, around 96.15% of students' parents are fishermen, and with an average education of complementing elementary school, and they don't have regular income. This is the problem. If the problem is affecting this, they don't have regular income. How could they provide a laptop? How could they provide a phone and read for their children to study online? This has become the big problem. So parents and students are starting to get stressed. Why stress? Parents could not provide facility for their children, and also the student get stressed. Why? Parents could not assisting them. They don't have teacher, and even some of them do not have a device to support. And this is overwhelmed by online learning. Don't get good support when studying at home. So what the solution is like natural literacy communication. In here, as a research finding, as we know before, conventional learning communications it happened before, and after this pandemic, we move we move from conventional to digital learning communications. Back before, student and teacher learning studying in classroom, they got school environment. Um, but nowadays, student and teacher by home learning, they dominate by linear communication model. Students do not participate active, and the most is students get bored quickly. They do not focus to what they study, and then student learn just to complete assignment. I mean, like this student, they got assignment. After that, they just go to play phone and something else. So they just learn just to complete assignment. So this will get effect later on. Students do not get effective mentoring from parent. As I explained before, their parent is not educate, and then lose time playing with friends. Some of them just stay at home, do not meet their friends at school, just like before. So this has become So they move from conventional learning to digital learning. But uh, how to become a solution? It is we have to make collaborative communication through natural literacy. I would like to explain here. First is collaborative learning from the open at home and online. I mean that uh, we make a collaborations. So sometimes they can go outside, but sometimes they can finish the rest by online. The teacher provide meaningful material and direct experience to students in the field. Then later on, the teacher documentation learning activities such as video. They post it on social media, YouTube, and others. And then later on, the student will work on worksheet from the teacher at home. So they meet at a nature place, at an open place. And then after that, they practice. They go home and they complete the assignment from the teacher. The third one is interactive and collaborative communication model. The fourth is creative teaching method. It will help the teacher how to make a creative idea for a learning method. And then the fifth is all students can participate actively in question and answer. Six, create familiarity and positive mentally. Why? Because they can go outside from home, not only stay at home. They can go, for example, they study biology. They want to get know about part of the sea, what is like fish and anything. They go to beach. This is a kind of method can help the student uh, positive mentally. Why? Because they do not get bored. It not make them stress, overwhelmed, and something like that. The seven is students are more enthusiastic. They feel cheerful. They feel motivated. They will think that, oh, I will not just stay at home to study, but I can meet my friend at outside. We go to beach by learning something from school. And the last one is student receive effective mentoring from teacher. They could get meet with their teacher. The teacher can do their role as a teacher, not just stay at home, give assignment only, and receive the assignment from student not only. So both parties can do their role effectively. The conclusion for my presentation today, quite long, to first is to realize quality learning. An effective learning process must be created with a comfortable learning climate, assessment and feedback. So the enthusiasm for learning and active student as well as teacher competencies in accordance with the field being taught. So the second is when school facility and infrastructure are still limited, teacher got their creative idea is important factor so that the learning process continue run effectively. So well, we don't have infrastructure from the government, but the teacher can give their creative idea to support to make learning run smoothly, run effectively. The facilities are not only in school, but the environment itself outside the school, the nature can be used as a source, as a media for student learning communication. So use the nature environment can be used too. And the third is the finding of the research that are digital communication is not effective for fishermen students. Maybe in some place like homes in town, by digital communication is very effective. They do not go to school. They can finish and they can do presenting by online like this. But in a specific area such as a rural area, fishermen student, this is not effective because limitation of student and teacher competencies. As I explained before, student could not do that. They don't have a device, and then they don't have assistance from teacher. However, communication through natural literacy show a significant effect on enthusiasm, motivation, and student learning outcomes. They get a good result because students feel excited. Then they can finish assignment with a good result. The last one is collaborative communication through natural literacy, namely by utilizing the surrounding beach. Marine life can be an alternative in a learning process during this pandemic because, as we know, uh, most of rural area still in green zone. They do not, they haven't get impact bad effect from this pandemic. So their environment can be used as a media for study. This can be applied in coastal village with a zero case COVID-19 in their village. Because yeah, far from city also. While adhering to health protocol. So even they go to environments, a natural environment for studying, they are still following the health protocols according to government policy. Okay, maybe that's all from my presentation today. I hope this research can be one of the solution for some several area in rural area, especially in coastal area. So yeah, that's all from my presentation today. I would like say thank you very much for listening my presentation today. And yeah,